Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a jam I wanted to try, or a spread, depending on how you use it. And it is peach season in Georgia. I think it's starting to wind down. Not in my area, but in Georgia. In my area, peaches are just coming in. And about 3 years ago, I found out about the peach truck, which brings peaches from Georgia to different areas of the country. And of course I missed the date because it was well after the date. Somebody at an event that I was at was talking about it and how she's finding creative ways to use up all these peaches that her aunt gave her from the peach truck. And I was like, well, what's the peach truck? She explained it to me. And so last year I wanted to get them, but I missed, actually they sold out of the dates in my area before I could order one. And then this year, I made sure I went there early, but I looked at the price. The price was cost prohibitive for me for this year. So I was looking at my Kroger flyer, and they happened to mention that they were going to have sweet Georgia peaches. I was like, wow. And they were half the price of the peach truck. So I was like, yeah, for the same amount of peaches, they were half the price. So I couldn't pass that up. So I got a 12-pound box of sweet Georgia peaches. I'm just going to open them up and show you what they look like. This is what they look like. They look fairly good. They are a lot, of course, bigger than my peaches on my peach tree. If you look at go over to my Instagram page, I will try to link it. I don't know how to do all that, but I will try to maybe put it in my bio or whatever it is on Yahoo, and show you the peaches that have come off my tree. So if I remember, I'll put in a picture at the end as well. But I'm going to be using Pomona's pectin. There's a little bit left in here, not enough to make a full batch, and there's some calcium powder in here to make the water. But I went ahead and ordered some bulk. This came from Fillmore Containers, it's called. And it is 1 pound, and yeah, I broke my nail. Sorry about that. 1 pound for $52. Yeah, that's gonna make a lot of jam. Then I picked 2 jalapenos from the garden. I just picked them this morning, probably like an hour ago, trying to get myself together here. And then here is honey. I'm not sure if I'm gonna sweeten it with honey or not, but I'm gonna see. And then some real lemon juice. Okay, so while I was waiting for my water to boil so I can blanch these peaches so I can peel the skin off, I took a sharp paring knife and I peeled them. It turned out pretty good. It wasn't too bad. You can see what flesh came off on it. I'm gonna see if putting them in hot water and peeling them will be better. I actually had 10 and I was like, oops, maybe I should do 50-50, but I was past that point. So here they are. I'm just covering them over and making sure that I can't do that one-handed. I'm gonna do these in the hot water. Okay, so I placed an axe on the bottom of each one. You can see that. And I'm going to put them in the water and see if this is a better way of peeling peaches. Here they are in the water. We'll see. And then leave them in there for about 30 seconds. And then I'm going to take them out. Okay, so here they are out of the water. And I've started to peel them by far. By a ratio of 1 to 10. Peeling them, easy. Okay, 1. This is 10 being the easiest it could possibly be to peel them. They were only in there for like 30 seconds, like I said. So yeah, this is a much easier way to peel peaches than actually peeling them with a sharp paring knife. Okay, so I measured out my peaches and I used my immersion blender to break them down. It's 4 cups in there. Just got that covered over. I got my lemon juice out, my calcium water, my Pomona's pectin, because that's what I'm using. I chopped up 2 jalapenos out of the garden, 2 like sort of decent size, and I am going to use honey. I measured out a cup of honey, and I'm going to put my pectin in there, get it all stirred in, and get my peaches on the stove ready to start warming. I've got my pectin and my honey, and I'm just going to mix it all in so it's evenly distributed throughout. And there it is. It almost looks like whipped honey to me. It's not whipped, but it has the pectin all the way through it. So that's why it looks like whipped honey. Okay, so my peaches are in. I'm putting in my 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Then I'm gonna mix in my calcium water. I know you couldn't hear that because I stepped away. I'm gonna mix in my calcium water while I'm bringing it up to temp. Just gonna measure in my calcium water. Holds for the batch that I'm making, holds for 4 teaspoons. Get that mixed through thoroughly. So I'm going to bring my fruit up to a full rolling boil before I add in my sweetener. In this case, it's going to be honey. And then I'm going to mix that in and then time it for a minute or two while stirring it. I don't always stir it constantly. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'm right there, right next to it, just in case. But you don't want it to burn at this point. And once I do that, I'm going to take it off the heat and start filling my jars. So in goes my honey. As you can see, I'm going to scrape every single last goodness out of that measuring cup. Make sure I don't waste any of it because honey's expensive. Everything's expensive nowadays. So I'm just going to add everything in, mix it, bring it back to a boil, time it for a minute, and then add my peppers. I'm actually going to add my peppers first and then time it for a minute while bringing it to a boil. Once I bring it back to a boil, I'm going to time it for that minute to 2 minutes. I usually do 2 minutes. And then once that's time for 2 minutes, I take it off the heat. And then I'm going to put it in my jars. And then I'm going to water bath can it. So I have a paper towel here and I'm making sure I'm wiping off my rims because this is very sticky. Making sure I'm wiping off each one and then I'll come back and wipe them off a second time. Screw your bands on fingertip tight. Not much tighter than that because then you can run into all sorts of issues. Pretty much that's it. And that's my 5 in the water bath canner. And I'm going to process this for 10 minutes once it comes to a rolling boil. And it's 1 inch of water above the cans. I made sure. You can just check it. This is my little tool. And as you can see, it's more than 1 inch above the rim of the jar. So I'm just gonna put the top on and let this process. Okay, so here is my peach pepper jam out of the canner. I got 5 jars out of that recipe and they all sealed so far. I'm just gonna let them sit here overnight and then I will wash the jars off tomorrow and put a date on them and put them into my stockpile. That's what I'll do. And this is for Every Bit Counts challenge. This is what I did today. So here they are. It's the next day. I've washed them. I've dried them. As you can see, they have set. And I'm going to label them and date them and put them into my cool room. And that's where I keep all my home cam items. And this will be a nice addition. Something with a little splash of summer in the winter time when we're having baked potatoes or whatever. So this was actually the first peach I got off my tree, and it was hard as a rock. Smelled great, but hard as a rock. And these are the peaches that I left for about 2 weeks longer. And they were so sweet, so delicious. Small, but delicious nonetheless. And they came off our tree. And that white stuff on there is a little bit of diatomaceous reserve just to keep... I was having a problem with aphids, and I was sprinkling diatomaceous earth on them and spraying neem oil. And I wanted to keep them off the peaches. They were on the apple tree. So that's why that white stuff is on these peaches. But it washed right off, and they were juicy and delicious. So I'm dabbling with a little bit of AI when in Rome, right? But we'll see how this goes. So I just want to thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. God bless. And remember, stay safe and keep prepping.